Hey, what's up, Giants fans? Welcome to another episode of Giants Talk. I'm Cole Kuiper here with Giants insider Alex Pavlovic. Giants dropped the first weekend series of the second half, a very winnable series at that. We're going to talk all about Giants versus Mariners, plus the 2027 schedule release, and much more. Before we get started, Giants Talk is presented by Mancini's Sleep World. Get moving towards better sleep at Mancini's Sleep World. We guarantee the best price and free next day delivery at Mancini's. Stop by or visit sleepworld.com to see what's currently available. Okay, Alex, let's dive right into Giants in Seattle. Started the series off strong with a big win and kind of felt like a winnable series overall, but everything crumbled after that first game.
Yeah, all three games. It was right there for them.
Yep.
That's a team that is struggling offensively. They have really good pitching. I think Saturday you look at especially, I know Logan was really upset about that one. Put that one on his shoulders. He did, although as always, there's other issues there. And then Sunday the same. They get an early lead. Eldridge hits the homer. They feel okay. Robbie Ray's pitching well, and all of a sudden kind of a defensive mess. And continues to be a little bit too sloppy for my liking. And then Adrian Hauser gives up a couple homers, and it's a series loss. And it's another one of those where you're just like, I don't think that team on the other side is really that much better or any better, but they come away with the series and the Giants don't. And, you look at they're going to play Kansas City and Anaheim now, who are the two worst teams, I believe, in baseball, at least in the American League. And those teams are right with the Giants, in terms of where they are on the standings. But there are a lot of teams we see like Arizona, Seattle, where you kind of watch these games and go they should be right there with those teams, but they're just not.
When you're so close to that cusp of the next level, it's just that sloppiness that makes the difference.
Yeah.
And this has been the story of the Giants team for a few years now. It's always something they say they're going to work on, but yeah, these very beatable, very winnable series, very beatable teams go to the team who tightens it up more. And that's just not the Giants once again. You mentioned Logan Webb. He stumbles a little bit after starting the game off strong, but as the team leader takes full accountability for it. And then third game of the series, just the bullpen fails once again.
Yeah, kind of a weird one Sunday. I think, they're trying to see what Hauser can do out of the bullpen. He's been good. For the most part, he hadn't pitched in 12 days, but gives up a couple homers. So bad time to have a bad time for him. But I think the other thing I'll say, in addition to the general sloppiness, which has been a years-long issue, I mean, the main thing this year is you look at this weekend's games and they were really kind of locked it down out of the bullpen in Seattle. And they have a good bullpen. They have a really good closer. And especially in the ninth, if you put Munoz on this Giants team, what's their record this year? And he's been one of the best closers in baseball the last few years, so that's asking a lot. But just how easily, I thought he was going to throw an immaculate inning on Saturday, and he almost did it both days. Just he was pounding the strike zone, made it look easy. Really cool entrance as well, which even during daytimes, they're having a good time with it. So yeah, it's weird to say about this team. They're not that far away talent-wise. Yeah. They're just haven't played good baseball, haven't figured out a way to win these close games, and the bullpen continues. Anytime it's a bullpen game, for the most part, the team on the other side has the advantage.
Well, Sunday's game obviously came with a bit of a distraction in the sports world going up against the World Cup for viewers. I was out at a watch event, the only guy with his phone out, and the Giants game up on the phone. So very disappointing going through all that work to get the game shown, and they fall apart.
Very dedicated podcaster.
Exactly. Oh,
impressive.
I just can't get soccer to work for me. Try as I may.
We had the game on in the press box.
Yeah, so. Good. I think the stat that keeps going around after they failed to secure the second game of the series is this is the first time in Giants franchise history that they've gone this far into a season without winning 4 straight. Now, you previewed what teams are ahead. That seems like hopefully they're going to get another chance here to finally get that off their back. But that just showcases how rough this year has been and how, a few breaks are going their way. Can we still blame it on breaks, though?
No, I don't. I mean, they're 0-6 when trying to win a fourth straight game, which we're
Yeah,
not talking about, the Red Sox who've won what, 13 in a row? We're talking about
13.
four.
Mm-hmm.
Four. That's like one, not even a good time through the rotation. That's
Yeah,
most of a good time through the rotation.
that's one
Um,
long series.
it's a wraparound weekend, like one
Mm-hmm.
long series. Yeah, it's you throw a rain out like doubleheader in one of these regular series and have a good weekend. They haven't been able to do it, and you have to go back to the 2022 Nationals to find the last team anywhere who didn't do that, which isn't too long ago, but also that was a 107 loss team. That was a really awful team.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really strange to not find any momentum at all. And I I was after Friday and then like midway through Saturday's game, I thought we might actually be podcasting about the possibility that they're going to do like a 2019 Giants and like, just get just hot enough that you kind of go, like, some guys have to go,
Trade
but
deadline could look real different,
maybe it's not a full on sale. Maybe you wait until August 3rd. So at least they didn't do that because that would have
as
been
is Giants tradition.
that would have
Yeah,
been Giants tradition. They at least didn't do that. They are sticking to who they've been the entire year. But yeah, it's not asking a lot to win four in a row, and
no.
they've just been fully incapable of it. First team, as you mentioned, first time the Giants have gone this deep into the season, which is not a surprising stat because even the worst teams I've covered have weeks where everything clicks for like
Mm-hmm.
6-7 days in a row.
There's so many different angles to blame it on. Obviously, the one that everyone knew coming into the year was going to be an issue was the bullpen. And you already mentioned Seattle's bullpen, but seeing real closers in action just make that hurt so much more. We've said on this podcast, especially me, I'm so in on having that dedicated closer, capital C, has the attitude,
Yeah,
has the stones to do it, and Munoz just looked great.
yeah, and also great video when he comes into the game. Great
Yes.
music. They have little strikeout jingles to go with his music.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's something we've been missing for a long time. And they need a closer for a lot of reasons. They needed, I guess Camilo had a little bit of a run there, but he never like, I don't know, it still felt hairy a lot with him, and he never fully embraced being that dude.
No,
Um, he didn't really care for the lights, didn't really
the
care to have
theatrics.
the theatrics. It is one of those things where we don't see it as much anymore, but you see it in San Diego right now with Mason Miller, and we see it here. And when you have that guy, it's just such a cool thing at the ballpark. And even on a day game on Sunday, he comes out, and it's like, all right, everyone's into it. It's been a long time, and really, you go back to like pre-stadium lights era, where I think the Giants can feel good
Yeah.
about that, and consistently good about that, and have someone who wanted to fully embrace it. So for performance reasons they need that. I also think just for entertainment reasons it'd be nice if they had the guy. Like, I don't even know if they built anything around any of their guys this year. Like, I don't think they did, and I don't think they should have. It would have been wasted energy for their in-house people if they were trying to come up with you know a
Yeah.
Ryan Walker video hoping that he figured it out this year. But
Totally.
um it would be nice. We talk a lot about those things, and just I thought, we'll get to this. I just thought the whole ballpark experience was awesome here, and obviously they're playing a little bit better baseball, but just a different vibe here,
Hmm.
a little bit better vibe, and it'd be nice if the Giants could get back to that sometime soon.
Well, the with that, I guess let's take it to some highlights from this series. I think the overall highlight you walk away from is Bryce Eldridge continues to become the Bryce Eldridge that we dreamed of.
Yeah,
Dare I say? He's into double digit home runs now. He just looks intimidating, attacking the ball at the plate. And we've talked quite a bit on this podcast about how bright the future is, and he just is a constant reminder that that future is here. I guess sooner than number one draft pick of 2026 is.
yeah. I think after the walk-off slam, we were like, okay, it's Eldridge's team.
Let's
It's
go.
time. Everything goes around him. Nothing he's done has changed. I mean, there was like a mini slump there late in the first half, but
Mm-hmm.
it's funny. I thought he went to Disneyland for the break and had a great time, and I was like, he's 21, but also probably needed that break as much as anybody because he's pushing all off season to win a job. He's pushing all spring to win a job. He doesn't get a job out of camp, and then is pushing to make the big league roster. And then when he comes up, obviously there's a tremendous amount of pressure to live up to expectations. And at first he's a pinch hitter a little bit and like not really getting opportunities. Now he's trying to stay on the field. So I think just maybe the mental breather of 4 days for him was huge. And you see the talent take over this weekend. Yeah, nothing's changed. Nothing will change. He's the dude. Even stole a base on Sunday, which aside from all else, like I just kind of liked seeing someone still competing out there, even though it was very clear the game was likely over. So still taking advantage, get that first stolen base where you can. But the power is really impressive, and going dead center on 99 miles per hour to open Sunday's game. Like everything he has done this season has been so impressive. I don't know if he has enough time to truly get into this Rookie of the Year race. I think Weatherholt has a pretty big lead in terms of F-WAR and things like that. The defense is going to help him quite a bit. Bryce the DHing doesn't really help when you're trying to win these awards, but it's been so impressive and, has a legitimate shot here over the final 2 plus months here to try to get to 20 homers, which would be a pretty big win given where he was at the beginning of the year.
Yeah. I also want to shout out a few other homers. Adames teed off twice. Devers teed off as well. I looked up, Adames just keeps getting this grand slam, big home run, but it's always when the team, I guess, doesn't really need them. They came back to lose on Saturday, so obviously that was needed. But I pulled the stats for his OPS when the team's ahead and behind. He has almost a 1,000 OPS when the team's ahead and about a 500 when the team's behind.
I don't want to knock him for Friday because given where this bullpen's been,
and a grand slam's a grand slam.
That was a big hit, but certainly, yeah, I think it's a well-known thing with the fan base that is certainly talked about quite a bit in the press box that there are some guys here who've had really rough times in big spots and are going to still end up with their numbers at the end of the year. So, but the one on Friday, given their troubles later in the weekend holding leads, you'll take that grand slam anytime. So
absolutely. 4 runs are 4 runs. And then how about Landon Roupp? Continues dominating. It's been quite a season for Landon Roupp, one of the guys that's been in the headlines a lot. And here he is in the headlines for crushing it on the mound.
Yeah, he's pitched very well in July. Not even really giving up hits. So, for a lot of these guys, he's kind of in that middle ground, like Logan's way over here. And then there's other guys we talked about, I think, last podcast, like McDonald and Wisenhunt, some of these guys who are going to have opportunities to prove they should be in the mix next year. I think Landon's pretty safely in the rotation next year.
Yes.
But, it'd still be nice to know is he like a back end 2-3 or is he like a 5? It'd be nice to know what you're getting out of him and see him continue to find some growth. And I thought for the most part, there were a few mistakes that left the yard, but they did pitch pretty well this weekend. I thought Foley looked great. Makes you wonder if they'd had him 2 months ago. And look, it's a shoulder rehab. They knew he wasn't going to be back until midsummer, but what if they had him in the mix? Can he be part of the solution? Maybe, first time out, the adrenaline's going. But he's someone who's done this before, someone who's been a really good big league reliever before. So curious to see where that goes for him in the second half because he's like pretty comfortably sitting at 97, and he should be maybe their best reliever.
Yeah,
once he's right.
Yeah. Well, one major topic I want to talk with you about is T-Mobile Park. You were obviously there in Seattle, and from following you on social media, it looked like it was just a baseball fan's absolute dream of a park. So tell us a little bit about the Seattle experience because I wanted to be there so bad.
First of all, I met so many Giants Talk listeners.
Awesome.
Double-digit Giants Talk listeners over the last couple of days, the last 3 days, just everywhere, at the market, at the ballpark, on the street. I was at a red light today, and a guy looks up and goes, "Hey, love the pod." I'm like, "Okay, cool.
Fantastic."
That guy knows who he is. He's from New York. Shout out to that guy. Also, everyone who gave me recommendations on where to eat in town and where to eat at the ballpark, great recommendations. So appreciate all of that. The listeners definitely came through. I ate very well. I'll probably go to the gym after we record this podcast. It was
off season's a way off. Don't worry about it.
we can't eat salads right now. So what are you supposed to do? Like,
That's a great point. It's for your safety that you dive in, man.
Literally for my safety. I need to podcast. I need to be, so we got to try all the good stuff. Yeah, it's a really, I'm going to put this up there with Petco as like I don't really encourage people to go to Dodger Stadium because I think it's a mess and like it's maybe not the most hospitable place for.
Yeah.
Even though I think it's better than most, like I think it's a good game atmosphere. We don't really tell people to go there.
It's not a great fan experience from every time I've been there. Food might be good, you might be good, but yeah, it's you don't have a great time as a Giants fan.
Yeah, especially as a Giants fan. And then Anaheim's, Anaheim.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put Seattle with Petco in terms of like, it's close. It's a short flight. It's a nice city. Seattle's basically San Francisco. The ballpark is awesome. I've been here before, but it's been a while. I don't think I've been here since we've been podcasting, so we haven't really had a chance to talk about T-Mobile Park here. But it was just like Petco for me. Just great ballpark, great vibes. Walkable from downtown, which is nice. Not quite as walkable as San Diego. And then the ballpark food, like it's 10 out of 10. It's up there. The curry katsu thing I had was so good. I went back on Sunday and got it.
Nice.
I did try the chicken tenders in a ferry boat. Tenders weren't great. They were mediocre, but they put them in a ferry boat. So that was a 10 out of 10 as well.
Okay.
Hoping it makes a nice little bath toy for the little man.
You got to keep it. Yeah.
Home. Yeah, we'll see. But it was just really good food, really interesting food. They did a thing called Hot Dogs from Heaven where they literally throw hot dogs.
I saw that.
On them.
Yeah.
And I don't know why every ballpark's not doing that. Like, it's okay to steal ideas. Hot Dogs from Heaven is unbelievable. Apparently they were warm and had condiments in them as well.
They've been doing that with like T-shirts at Sharks games for as long as I can remember. It's an easy thing that the crowd goes nuts for.
I think the Giants used to do T-shirts, didn't they? I don't know if they
that sounds familiar.
They still do it. T-shirts are good. The one thing, have you heard of the Seattle dog?
No.
They claim it's the best regional hot dog.
Okay.
It's a hot dog with cream cheese and grilled onions. And
okay.
I was like, I have to try this.
It's like a French onion dip hot dog.
I guess. I'm like, I have to try it because everyone's telling me, and the people who work for the team who are from here are saying, try the Seattle dog. Every single guy outside the ballpark is selling a Seattle dog. Not good. It's not good. Whatever claim they're making to best regional hot dog, it's 100% BS.
Do you have a favorite regional hot dog?
I think Chicago just takes it.
No, I think like the Sonora dog out of Arizona, or even just the bacon wraps kind of LA dog, your classic dog. Those by far.
I will put them ahead of the Seattle dog. I'll tell you that much.
Fair.
So,
all right.
Does not work. I don't really understand what they're doing with the cream cheese. I love cream cheese, but it didn't work. But just a great environment, great food, and there was something about like I think someone said this to me, and I think he was right. It was just they turned the music up like a little bit louder than we do at home, and it was necessary and made it just a little bit vibier. So I'd be curious to see what like Giants Talk listeners thought when they were here, but yeah, just everything was just like a little bit louder, a little bit brighter. And I'm like, I like this. So yeah. It was really seemed targeted towards and then, they had 2000s weekend while we were here, which was like Jimmy Eat World was here for some reason, but they're playing 50 Cent.
Fantastic.
Celebrate wins. And I'm like, it's a nice shot. I feel like you and I are in this age group that kind of they do all the kids stuff at the ballpark. They just had SpongeBob. It was great. Giants certainly do all the old people stuff as much as anybody.
Absolutely, they do.
I think we're in an age range that's been forgotten a little bit. And
yeah,
I'm like, kind of nice to hear some old school 50 Cent at the ballpark. So
look, I know this doesn't go for every listener, but I got a lot of friends in this age group who don't have kids, have disposable income, and would love to go see Jimmy Eat World at a baseball game.
It's like it just was all like a throwback. So I'm like, hey, 2000s kids, we're here.
I'd like to remind listeners that the Mariners are my official nomination for who the Giants interleague rival should be once the A's move to Las Vegas and the whole thing gets reshuffled. I think you already mentioned Seattle being basically like San Francisco of the Northwest. The cities are so similar. The cultures seem so similar. The ballparks, the teams. Let's make this happen. Let's make T-Mobile Park and Oracle Park become a thing.
You know what? I'm on board, and there were so many Giants fans here. They're having a good time. So a couple people brought my book, asked me to meet up. Like, it was just, there were a lot of them here. I think a lot of them live here in general. But yeah, great place. 10 out of 10 for me. Like, I have the highest recommendation for T-Mobile Park and the whole experience here. So
Excellent.
putting it up there with San Diego. If you can't, like, if you want to go see the Giants on the road and, can't make a Petco trip work, just come up here when they come up here, or just come up here in general. Had a great time.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a perfect time to talk about next year's road trips as the 2027 MLB schedules have been released. The Giants certainly have quite an interesting one. So let's dive in. By interesting, I mean they start and end against, I guess, the rivals they've earned this year, the Colorado Rockies, starting at home against the Rockies and then ending in the place where anything can happen, Coors Field.
As someone whose career is talking about this team, writing about this team, watching this team, I don't love that Major League Baseball said, we don't need Giants Dodgers at the start of the year, and we don't need you to host the Yankees again. You're going to have a lot of Rockies in big games. So not ideal, I don't think.
This is like, it feels like a punishment for, hey, we put you guys on the big stage, the Netflix opening day. You got it. Sorry, we're not making that mistake again.
It is very well earned. It's just also not ideal. Not great.
Yeah,
but that's where they look at. These things are like somewhat random, but also like, you do want to be in the spotlight a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. Maybe the lockout will change it, and they'll open the season against the New York Mets, and it'll be a big deal.
We'll get to lockout talk because obviously that'll be a huge part of what the first couple of weeks, what the beginning of 2027 seasons looks like. But let's look at some road trips for our listeners. Do you have a trip that you're like, hey, this is the one, book your flight now?
I have a best trip, which is, I know I just said I hate these. I wouldn't tell people to go to these ballparks, but they do play the Angels and Dodgers back to back, which is it's really convenient if you want to go do like a end of July. They play Angels, Dodgers, and then they go to Chicago to play the Cubs. So that's a long one from a baseball perspective, but just from like a travel perspective for Giants fans, like that's, you want to take the kids down there, maybe go to Anaheim, then go to Disney World, and then go to a Dodger game. Maybe you go to like I don't think you want to go to a Friday game. Maybe go to a Saturday Dodger game, drive back. I don't know. But that seems convenient. I have one that I have zero interest in.
I have one as well.
This is early in the year. Chicago White Sox, Pittsburgh Pirates, Cincinnati Reds. No interest in this from basically any perspective right now. And if I'm to go on vacation at some point next year, I think I might just go early because that won't
get it out of the way.
That does nothing for us. So no offense to those teams. But
I was going to also counter with possibly three of the hottest cities at the beginning of July, going Arizona, Colorado, and Houston leading into the All-Star break. Just an all-time scorcher of a road trip.
Couple retractable roofs, though. So
that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
But just if you're traveling, you're not in the ballpark the whole time. You're out there wandering the streets of Houston
that's true.
For something to do, just dying.
As someone who's born in Texas, I can say this: you don't want to be wandering the streets of Houston in general. So, just kind of, it's, I don't know, nothing really jumped off the page with this one.
No San Diego weekends, 2 Arizona weekends, just your standard. We got a Sacramento trip, Chicago, a couple Dodgers, but the weekend trips especially, nothing exciting. Colorado, I am interested. I haven't been to Coors since I was a kid, but ending the season there, I'm not really interested in hitting that weekend series. I don't know. It's a tough one to recommend anything big for travel.
Kind of looked at it and just went, okay, that's a schedule. So this isn't the year where we saw the Mets and the Yankees back to back. And I just went, oh my God, I'm about to have the best 8 days I've ever had on this job. But the rival Mariners come in April. So there's that. But even then, that's a weekday series. So it doesn't even make it easy for our rival Mariner fans to come down spend a weekend in San Francisco. So yeah,
Yeah.
nothing really stood out.
Taking a peek at the holidays, they're away on Father's Day, 4th of July, and Labor Day, home for Mother's Day and Memorial Day. Yeah. Once again, as you said, of all the schedules, this certainly was one.
It certainly was one, and I think it's just it. Not to beat a dead horse, but when you see it and you go, "Oh, schedule's out," and you go right to the front and you see Thursday, March 25th, Colorado Rockies at home.
It says it all.
That's not quite what it was in 2026. So,
yep. Hey, they can hoist the not last placed in the NL West trophy in front of the Rockies.
Let's hope this isn't a year-long competition next year. That it's just you start with them, you finish with them. But yeah, maybe the lockout will probably change all of this anyway.
Let's talk lockout. The lockout is the big question for 2027. What does this schedule look like? How long could the lockout go? How did they operate last time? We had quite a few listeners. I got DMs. You got messages about, sure, schedule's out, but we've heard so much on Giants Talk about how the year's not going to be played normally.
I kind of blacked all this out, and we were podcasting through this, but it was so annoying. I think I blacked it all out of my memory. But they ended up only missing a week of baseball the last time in 2022. And season was delayed a week. They added 3 days to the end of the season. So the Giants had a Padres series at the front that got put at the back. And then the Milwaukee series that was supposed to be at the front of their year as well, that got broken up. And they went there once during a trip, and then they played a doubleheader there on an off day during another trip. So they found a way. So if this lockout, and this one looks a little bit more contentious than the last one, but if it ends up being similar, I think that's probably just the move here, which is, you take that first week, all of a sudden they don't open against the Rockies, and then they'll open on the road. So maybe that's what happens here. But yeah, we'll see how many games they end up missing. It certainly doesn't seem like they're on the same page or even reading the same book. So, or if they, last time I think a real effort was made to get to 162.
Yeah.
And I don't know that it'll be as easy this time, since we have tried to stay away from lockout talk because it is annoying, and
it's all just
publicly just snapping at each other back and forth, and everyone's just like, okay, cool. Well, this is like, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and don't really need to hear about
your millions and billions.
Yeah, people don't really care, but they're going to do it, and I would guess it's going to be a little bit harder to get 162 in, given where they're at.
Do you have a problem with them playing 150?
No, I don't. It's a really long season.
Yeah.
And I think what we've discovered in all sports is that almost every sport's playing too many games. So, and I say this as someone who loves baseball, and I really enjoy my job. And there are seasons where you're like, cool, 2021, it went down to the wire. But
you say this as the guy who never wants to see a 10th, 11th, or 12th inning.
It's true as well. That's a whole, it's a long commute home, and guys get optioned because they had to throw 60 pitches out of the bullpen. But no, I don't think I think there's a lot of talk in the NBA about how the season's too long, and football's going the other direction and trying to tack on. And I don't know. I wonder if that would be, no one's ever going to get money back, but if they were forced to play a shorter season, maybe people would look around and go, this isn't so bad. But my thing with baseball, and I do think the NBA season's too long, but my thing with baseball is it's such a stats-based sport, and it'd be like really hard to just say, okay, all those records that you grew up with are just gone. Like,
that's 1,000% it for me. Just putting all of those milestone records, Barry Bonds, single season home runs, that kind of thing, permanently out of reach. Now, who knows? Anything could happen, but very, very doubtful. Unless you just do like prorated records,
That's not fun. So
no, it's not at all.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing keeping it at 162 for me. Otherwise, I would have no problem shortening the season a little, or especially in a lockout based year, don't even bother trying to get to 162. The season started late. It started late. We're not playing those games. Yeah,
that was the weird thing last time. Like, I was going back at the schedule and you find the Milwaukee doubleheader, and it's like, well, this was just jammed in there.
Yeah.
And
Who was this
season
fun
ends on,
for?
yeah, season ends on a Wednesday in San Diego. So okay,
Yeah.
um, great work, everybody. So, but yeah, we know they're going to try to extend it.
Yeah, yeah. We're going to get a lot more lockout talk in. You're going to be sick of it before the end of it. So we'll stop with that now. We have mailbag questions from listeners, and we have Giants heading to Kansas City. But first, Giants Talk is presented by Mancini Sleep World. A good mattress can help with your posture, reduce back pain, and even help with allergies. Studies show that getting a great night's sleep improves mood, memory, and productivity. A trip to Mancini Sleep World can set you up for your best rest yet. Stop by or visit sleepworld.com to see what's currently available. All right, Alex, we've got some mailbag questions from Giants Talk listeners here. As always, if you're listening to this and you have a mailbag question for myself or Alex, go ahead and send it to us wherever you can find us on social media. We'll add it to our list and tackle it during an appropriate episode. Our first one today is from Brian. Brian asks, what does an offseason bullpen rebuild look like? What teams have successfully pulled this off recently? Is it one big free agent closer plus 3 minor leaguers?
You know, this is a great question and something we talk about a lot and we'll continue to talk about a lot. And the first thing that popped into my head was the 2021 bullpen, which was historically good. 6 guys with an ERA under 3, 1 guy with an ERA under 2. Obviously, it helped them win 107 games. That group doesn't even include Camilo Doval, who became their closer and was their closer in the postseason.
Mm-hmm.
And I went back and looked at the way that was built because I actually think it's a great model and it's a good reminder of how quick these things can change. Tyler Rogers was here already. We know how important he is. He made like 80 appearances that year. Harleen Garcia was here already as well. He came as a waiver claim the year before. But Jake McGee, 2-year contract, $7 million, had 31 saves. So Jose Alvarez, 1-year contract. That was $7 million for the 2 years. So it's a very cheap contract for
Half
Jake
that.
McGee, who was very good for a while. Jose Alvarez, 1 year, $1.15 million. He was sneaky good, sneaky effective. Zach Littell and Dom Moyon, they were minor league free agents. Now, a reminder that a lot of times this doesn't work. Grant Brisbee does great work every time they have a minor league list. And I went back and found his list from that year, and he had a roundup of everybody who could contribute. He had those guys. He also had Jimmy Sherfy, Silvino Bracho, and Daniel Alvarez. So you hit and miss with those guys.
Yeah.
Giants had 5 non-roster guys in camp this year. Killian ends up being a hit overall. 5 non-roster veteran relievers, I should say. Overall, like not a whole lot from that group aside from Killian. And then in 2021, Caleb Berriger, he was really good for a while. Remember, he had like a scoreless streak or hitless streak, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was very effective for a while. He was homegrown. Camilo Doval, obviously homegrown. Kervin Castro came up. He was homegrown. There were misses as well. Matt Weisler, remember him, the slider king?
Yeah.
Was not very good. But I think the lesson learned from that group is that, and this is something that the Giants talked about early in the offseason and didn't end up fully doing, which is just kind of throwing a bunch of these guys at the wall. And
stack arms.
Yeah, you almost need like 10 of these non-roster guys. And look, some of the guys this year, like they felt really good about Gregory Santos and it just didn't work out. And Killian has worked out, but hasn't been a closer for him. And he didn't come here to be a closer. But so I think you just have to throw a bunch of non-roster guys at it. You have to throw a bunch of waiver claims at it. Dylan Smith's been pretty effective for the Giants. He was someone they picked up very cheaply earlier this year. And then you have to throw internal guys at it as well and find out who's your Camilo Doval, who's your, who can help out, who can grow, who can turn into Tyler Rogers. We'll never see Rogers specifically again, but like, who do they have currently that can be effective? Is it one of these guys who's not a starter now and ends up not being a starter? Is it Blade Tidwell? Like, they just let him run with that and see if he can do it later this year. So it doesn't really have to be. And one thing we talked about a lot in the offseason, like, I generally hate those huge closer deals. Like, I lived through Mark Melancon. I've seen it everywhere else. Like, Edwin Diaz, I know everyone makes the Edwin Diaz jokes because of what Buster said on KNBR. Like, he got hurt right away. And, Tanner Scott was horrible last year on the Dodgers. So it doesn't have to be one of those big deals, but I do think they have to get some experience in there. Some guys who are comfortable in the 9th inning if it ends up being that way. We've talked about some of those guys around the league that we've seen, like the Pete Fairbanks, even Seawald and Arizona, guys who are comfortable. And then I just think you have to throw a lot of arms at this and figure out who it is. And arms that you're comfortable releasing, arms that you're comfortable optioning. So you're not really stuck with this group. But that would be my answer, is going back to 21. And I think you look at other bullpens around the league, and a lot of the good ones are built this way. I say it all the time, and Buster kind of said something similar when he did KNBR last week. Bullpens are really weird, and most of the same group came back in 22. A lot of the same group, and Zach Littell, we know how it ended for him here. Harwin Garcia, Dom Leon, like for a lot of these guys, it just didn't. Camilo Doval was never as good as he was when we first saw him, but it doesn't like take a whole lot for it to click, and it's like, okay, this is a good bullpen now.
Yeah, if they're following that 2021 kind of blueprint, this would have been the perfect year to do it. It doesn't require a massive signing like Diaz. Really, all it takes is stacking a bunch of arms around Tyler Rogers, and that was doable. That could have been done this year.
They did that in 21. Yeah.
Yes.
And the one thing I will say too is I know it sounds crazy because we talked about it earlier and we talk about it every episode. There are a lot of guys down there who I think are actually part of the solution in 22. I'm very confident in Keaton Wynn. I think he has the right mentality for it. He has the right stuff. Killian's been very good outside of the 9. We've seen flashes from Smith. We've seen Miller's a little inconsistent, but like there are guys down there who can be part of the solution next year. It doesn't have to be an overhaul. It doesn't have to be you spend $100 million on your bullpen. You can spend, you can go back and I didn't add this up, but what did Farhan spend? Like 12, I don't know, 15? Like it's not a whole lot on this group. So, but as you mentioned, he had Tyler Rogers, which helped quite a bit. And they had Camilo coming through the system, which helped quite a bit. But it's not as hard. It's hard, but it's also somewhat easy. It's weird. It's like, it's a really difficult thing as they learn this offseason, but also couple things go the right way, and all of a sudden you feel good late in games, and guys are in better roles, and you have a really good bullpen and a really effective bullpen.
It really feels like if you keep throwing this seemed like it was the Farhan model back then. You keep throwing new guys at the problem. One of them will be the guy that, if you keep pulling the slot machine enough times, that's how gambling works, right? Eventually you're going to win.
Eventually.
That's certainly what it felt like in 2021 is they just would finally hit, and they haven't been cycling through arms this year. They're throwing the usual suspects out there and getting the usual results.
Like you think about like Jake McGee was awesome in 2021. He was really, really bad after that.
Yeah.
And before that had some really inconsistent years. Like you kind of just go through, it's like 3.6, and then the next year 6.5, and then 4.3, and then 2.6, and then 2.7. Relievers do this, and I think the answer here is just throw a lot of arms at it in the offseason. And I think part of the answer here is in the second half, like see who else can be part of that mix going into next year. That's where I do think there's some urgency after the deadline to figure out some of these guys, the Wisenhunts, the Tidwells, the guys who are down there, Tugboat, like the guys who are down there, figure out where they fit in going into next year.
Yeah. All right. Our next question from Chris is kind of like a part 2 for this, for those who aren't ready to wait. Chris asks, what can be done to improve the bullpen now or during the season? I see Wisenhunt pitching well, but he seems like a starter. What about Fulmer, Bivens, and Tidwell?
Tidwell's the guy I'm fascinated by because he just looks, this is the most simplistic thing in the world. He just looks like a late inning stud reliever. Like
that's a thing, though.
He just looks like it. I know he's comfortable. We saw it in spring training a couple times where he came in short stints and was comfortable doing it. Look, they're trying him out as a starter. I do think they're going to try him as both a starter and reliever and see what sticks. But when you watch him when he's right, he really looks like someone who can like take that leap. And we always talk about when teams come in and you're like, I've never heard of that guy on the other side. Why is he throwing 99 with just a filthy slider and buzz through the Giants in the 8th inning? Like Tidwell's the guy who I just kind of think can be that guy as soon as like September or next year. So we'll see what they do with him. Certainly teams hate giving up on the starting option for guys, and he's been a starter successfully as well. But Fulmer's been down there all year. Bivens, I think we know he's kind of on the outside looking in with this group. I don't think there's going to be much improvement just overall. And you even look at like you come into this series and they pitched a little bit better, but then Sunday they have problems obviously, and so I think the important thing for me is just some of the guys who are here after the deadline, and I also might trade some of these guys because that's probably just an effective way at this point. Like if anyone wants any Giants, but I think some of the guys who are here, I'll just say like the Keaton Wins of the world. Like let's see more of what they've got and see what they can do. I Keaton kind of got thrown off kilter by having to throw 1 million pitches in 3 days, but let's see what he can do when he's having normal innings.
And I start to worry as they start to rely on getting looks at the younger pitchers in AAA. Like, let's not be burning any options or things like that.
Yeah.
Let's not. These are consumable resources to be used when needed, not when the ship has already sunk this year.
Yeah, that's where I kind of go with the guys who we've seen already, and someone like Tidwell we've seen. They've already sent him back down. And then again, I think Keaton's ready for another shot late in games, and also you kind of just have to figure out like where these guys fit in. Can these guys? Part of this too, and part of the thing about the 21 group is like some of those guys were so resilient and proved that they could go back to back really easily, and we've seen it from this group. Some of these guys have some trouble when you push them a little bit, whether it's pushing them into high lever spots or pushing them to throw a little bit more. So they need to kind of continue to figure that out. I think it'll be a little bit easier after the trade deadline. They're in this weird spot right now where, Tony's managing to win every single game. And like I watched Luis Arias limp off the field on Saturday. It was just like, oh, okay, be careful Sunday. Like,
yeah.
There are scouts here.
Tell anything.
Yeah, let's make sure he's okay. And then he was okay Sunday, and obviously he has an RBI double and all that. But like they're in this weird in between where I think everything is just kind of framed around the deadline, not necessarily for them on a day-to-day basis, but for the rest of us, and certainly the front office is looking at that. And then once they get through that August 3rd, I think it'll be a little bit easier to look at like, okay, now Whisenhunt needs to start every 5 days instead of somebody who might be a trade chip. Some of these other guys need to be up here instead of. It's always a little bit easier after the deadline too, when you realize, maybe there's no value for certain guys and things like that. It's a little bit easier after that to start to release some people, DFA some guys, clear innings for other people.
Yeah. All right. Next question is from Cameron. Cameron says, with Luis Hernandez and Yaswar Gonzalez playing at the same level, has there been any word about which position either will be playing primarily going forward? With all of these top prospects playing similar positions, just curious if there's been any active discussions about who will play where.
I am sure
you stack up this many middle infielders, guys are going to move.
I'm sure when they sit around in the front office and, just talk about what's going on, I'm sure there are conversations about 4 years from now, what does this look like? But specifically right now, it's not really an issue. Like it is something where you just want these guys to get their reps. They were alternating Level and Keelan when they were together in high A. Now both of them are separate, so that makes it a little bit easier. This might happen with all these guys as they go through. We'll see if Hernandez and Gonzalez end up just going through together the whole time, or if one of them separates from the other one. But currently, Gonzalez has mostly played shortstop. He's played 8 games at second base. Hernandez has played a lot of shortstop as well. That's partially because Gonzalez has had some injuries that kept him off the field. And then he's played 19 games at third base. So it's workable. It's workable going forward as well. At some point, they'll have to figure it out. But you don't really have to figure that out until like double A, triple A. Like it's not really too big a concern. So at some point, someone will separate themselves. I do think just from what I've heard about all these guys, it seems like Gonzalez is the best bet pretty clearly to just be a really, really good defensive shortstop. So if there's ever a move that has to be made just like immediately, that's probably it. But they're going to keep, Keelan was playing shortstop on Sunday. So they're going to keep pushing all these guys as shortstops until they have to move. And then you might also have a situation like you get to the big leagues and the Jackson Merrill thing happens where it's like, hey, now you're a center fielder. So go out and do it. Like Mauricio Dubon, he was a shortstop. He idolized Brandon Crawford, and that was all over the place. So It's not really. I know it's an interesting thing, but it's not really something they're worried about at all. They'll figure it out when they get here.
Yeah, Cameron, these things have a way of figuring
They
themselves out.
do. They generally do. The bigger thing is more like these guys getting here and guys already being here at those positions, which
Exactly.
we've seen like with Bryce, and we've seen with Casey with his little breakout here and all that.
Next question is from Danny. Danny says, as a Giants fan on the East Coast, it's always tough when the start time of a game is something like 10:10 p.m. Eastern. Do you think with the popularity of MLB TV and the amount of fans watching across different time zones, that West Coast teams would adopt slightly earlier evening start times? I hate to disappoint you, Danny.
Yeah.
I do not think there is any chance the Giants go earlier than they're already going. I props to you. Sounds miserable to be watching games that end at 1 a.m. every night. You're a true fan for sticking through a season like this, staying up that late. But no, I even the 6:45 start, I'm not a fan of.
Really?
Yeah, I liked the 7:15 because I loved, the pregame thing, going around to grab a beer before the game, grab dinner before the game. That's a big part of the ballpark experience for me.
Those Fridays, it seems, and I've talked to people who work for the team, players, it just seems like it takes forever to get to 7:15 because they're so accustomed to 6:45.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to change. They're pretty happy with the way it is. I do wonder, a lot of this is traditionally like work and school and things like that. I do wonder, like with work, I was talking to somebody about this today, and he pointed out like most people work from home on Fridays, and most people, let's be honest, you're all working half days on Fridays. So the old 7:15 on Friday is like not as necessary as it used to be. But
I'll
I
counter
do think
with
they
this.
like the vibe on Friday nights. So
I'll counter with this. The Bay Area in Northern California is about to become theirs, which already meant a lot of fans commuting from deep in the East Bay, North Bay, South Bay. But without the A's here in the Bay Area, I think you're going to get even more fan populations making that trek. So you push it any later, they're not getting there until the second inning.
Yeah, it's, priority is, when it comes to TV, the priority is making sure it's just at night in general.
Yes.
But other than that, like the priority is making sure people can get to the ballpark. And they're pretty happy with where they're at. I don't think we're moving. I'd love like a 5:40, but we're not moving in that direction. So
no chance.
Yeah, it's not changing. Sorry, Daddy.
Sonny says, I have a silver lining I want to share with the Giants faithful. I think we are getting to watch two future Hall of Famers on this team. When it's all said and done, I believe Matt Chapman will have a career comparable to Nolan Arenado, and voters 15 years from now will recognize his defensive contributions. Also, they will look at Logan Webb's gajillion innings. He has over 200 innings more than anyone else under 30, and have models that don't blatantly disrespect his process. Finally, who knows what may happen with Eldridge? Can't wait to write back 15 years from now to say that I knew it all
along. We'll see if we're here in 15 years. But
we as in this podcast, or we as in the human civilization?
I guess either. Definitely this podcast, though. We'll see what kind of form we're in. It'll be short snippets. This reminded me of when Gabe Kapler a few years ago was managing Evan Longoria and called him a Hall of Famer. And I'm like, that was kind of weird. And then I followed up. He was like, no, go look at his numbers. He's like a Hall of Famer. And when I looked at it, I'm like, he kind of is like on that edge. And I've had a ballot for a few years now where you look at it and go like, this guy's career was a lot better than I thought. And he stacks up pretty favorably compared to the guys who are already in. But I also watched him and like never really thought, very good player. I like Evan, but like never really thought like I'm watching a Hall of Famer. So
yeah.
And Evan is way ahead of where Matt Chapman currently is. Just looking up, Matt Chapman 117 career WRC plus. Nolan Arenado was at 115. Since that was the comparison here, Arenado does have 365 homers to 210 for Chapman. And then kind of looking at where they stack up, the average third baseman in the Hall of Fame has 68 wins above replacement. Chapman is at 44.5, and he has had some very good years. He's also clearly like starting to deal with some injuries and slowing down a little bit. So will be hard to get to that number. And then just in terms of contemporaries, Manny Machado, Jose Ramirez, Nolan Arenado well ahead of him, Evan Longoria, Josh Donaldson, Alex Bregman kind of in similar ranges to him. So I think for him specifically, he's probably going to get caught up where you look at all these guys and just go like,
they can't all get it.
Yeah, can't all get in. Who is the best of that group? Who's getting in? And then you start getting compared to the guys who do get in. And it just goes like, you're like 15 WAR behind him, 100 homers behind him, things like that. So it's going to be tough. I think we've had the Logan conversation here before. I do think there's going to be a longevity argument for him. And is someone
Paul loves longevity.
It does. And is someone who stares at the Mark Burley baseball reference page every December when I get my ballot. There's a case to be made, but he does need probably a little bit more postseason, and it would very much help his case if one of these Cy Young close calls turned into an actual trophy.
Yeah, I think without that and without a couple more postseason appearances or opportunities to have heroics, it's going to be tough. He'll be one of those cases that like people argue about on the internet until the end of days.
Yeah. The other guy who came into my head was Luis Arias. If he wins a fourth batting title, you start getting into like kind of really small territory there. Guys. And his problem is 20, 30 years ago, that's automatic, like Hall of Famer with where he's at with his numbers. With the way we vote now, it's not at all. But I do wonder if he, especially if this is real, that he's a very good defensive second baseman. He's right in his prime, and he looks like someone who could hit for the next 10 years. Like, if he just stacks up like 6 batting titles and 8 All-Star appearances, it starts to become interesting once he retires.
Like how many batting titles can a man get and not be in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, and also what does the electorate look like when he gets in, where we're just all like, we don't even look at batting average on the scoreboard anymore now. So
that's a great point. You can't predict the future.
Yeah, but he is someone who one thing I always look at just as an easy like starting point with a lot of these guys is you just kind of look at the award stuff. Like, where do they rank on MVP ballots? How many times did they make the All-Star team? Were they winning Silver Sluggers? And this isn't how I make my decision, but it's an easy way to kind of look at some guys. Occasionally you'll look at a guy and you'll see the overall numbers, and then you look and you're like, he made one All-Star team and never was in the top 20 in MVP voting. So nobody there felt like he was really good, but just kind of hung around for 19 seasons. So, but Arias would be separate, and Logan as well. Like, he's starting to stack those All-Star games, and if he can stack, it's kind of nice when you look on the right side of the baseball reference page and it's like Cy Young second place, Cy Young fourth place, Cy Young sixth place. Throw a couple more of those in there, it starts to look pretty good. Yeah.
The Hall of Fame is always such a fascinating decision because the actual payoff comes so far later than when the actual stats happened.
Yeah.
And I'm such an emotional, vote with my heart kind of guy that as long as Tim Lincecum, Barry Bonds aren't in something like that, why would I care who's even in it?
Well, next year we will care. This year we will care.
Next
week we will care.
All right. Another one, this one from Ian. Ian, longtime fan from New York, says, this leadership is testing me big time. With a lockout looming, I'm facing 2 lost seasons in a row, not knowing if ownership will learn for years to come. I feel my heart wanting to quit baseball altogether. How many fans could be lost with this embarrassing season and a lockout next year?
It's a good question. We'll find out how long the lockout goes. But we joke about it, but I also don't think there's going to be a lot of appetite for people to just be like, okay, there's a lot going on in the world right now, and I don't really care about you guys arguing about how many guys are on the 40-man roster at the start of the season.
Figure it out.
What the minimum salary is. Like, it's it went from $850 to $1.2 million. Cool.
Yeah.
Like, all my friends lost their jobs, so that got dark. But yeah, it's I hope they realize that. But I do think there's going to be a lot of anger this offseason and next year.
I will say I'm always a little bit shocked by fans who are like, this team's been playing really bad. I'm ready to quit being a baseball fan or a Giants fan. Like I've always thought just part of being a sports fan was like, it really sucks that I was born a Browns fan, but this is the lot I was dealt in life, like, yeah, sometimes your team sucks. And then sometimes they win 3 World Series in 5 years, and you get the good, you get the bad. It's going to ebb, it's going to flow. Sometimes it's a lot of bad. Sometimes it's a lot of good. That's just part of being a baseball fan. So yeah, I understand you lose momentum. It's harder to raise your kids as fans when the baseball games go 3 hours long and the TikTok videos have warped their brain chemistry. But this is the sport we love. Like, yeah, if you've fallen out of love with baseball as a concept, I can't do anything about that. But if you're a Giants fan, this year sucks. We've had some bad years in the past. Let's keep going. What's next year have?
And guess what? We will be there opening day against the Rockies.
That's right. Rockies against the mighty Colorado Rockies. Come on.
Look, you can admit after Friday night, you looked ahead and saw how many games they have to win in the second half to get to 81 or 85 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, you make the great point, which is 2010 was so special because of everything that happened before it. And,
yes.
And it's, when they do win again at some point, it's not going to be like 2010 because it was decades upon decades. So it'll be okay. Stick with us.
And there are franchises that have it way worse.
Yeah, there are quite a few out there.
Yes. All right, let's call it there and get to Giants heading to Kansas City. Alex, do you have our pitching matchups for us?
Yes, Trevor McDonald versus Michael Wacha, Tyler Mahle versus Luinder Avila, and Landon Roupp versus Seth Lugo. So a couple of those righty types that tend to give this Giants team trouble at times, but that was pretty Eldridge. The Royals are 40-60. It is very rare that you see a team on the calendar that has a worse record than the 2026 Giants, but here they come.
Let's do this.
Old friends. Mason Black made 12 relief appearances for them earlier this year. He's currently in AAA. Salvador Perez never played for the Giants. I'm going to count him as an old friend because
I absolutely count him.
Yeah, we've seen his highlight a billion times, and it's kind of incredible that he's still there.
You're telling me he is still a Kansas City Royal? Still
a Kansas City Royal 12 years after the World Series.
That is like Pablo Sandoval still being a San Francisco Giant.
Yeah, it's wild. And then Jose Alguacil is their infield coach.
Oh, wow.
Very nice man. So,
and I want to give a shout out to our listener, Giants Talk listener Hayden, who did our homework for us. Told us the Kaufman Field recommendations are the Z-Man sandwiches are an absolute must-have. And according to him, the best chicken strips in baseball.
Okay. I've never had the chicken strips there because I was eating barbecue all the time.
But, yep, that'll do it.
The legend, Jeff Passan, brought dozens of sandwiches to one of the World Series games.
The Z-Man sandwiches?
Yeah, just placed the box there and was like, have at it.
Okay.
Jeff Passan, legend.
That's
why we all love him. He's a good reporter, but also brought us sandwiches.
You know what? Here on Giants Talk, the way to our heart is through our stomach. If we're not going to win at baseball, so we can at least eat delicious food while watching the game.
Exactly.
That's all we have on today's episode of Giants Talk. Don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead, give us a glowing review. If you're a fan, skip the review if you're not. But also, thanks for making it this far. Buy Alex's book, buy Dusty Baker's book. Do all the things, and we'll be back to recap Giants at Royals after this series.